Guten Abend, gut Nacht, mit Rosen bedeckt, mit Näglein besteckt, schlupf unter die Deck. Morgen früh, wenn Gott will, wirst du wieder geweckt. Morgen früh, wenn Gott will, wirst du wieder geweckt. Guten Abend, gute Nacht, von Englein bewacht, die zeigen im Traum dir Christkindleins Baum. Schlaf nun selig und süß, schau in Traums Paradies. Schlaf nun selig und süß, schau in Traums Paradies.
Good evening to all of you. Once again, we would like to thank the professors who are joining us on the third day of the International Summer School for Professor Training 2023, an initiative led by the Corporation for Systemic and Strategic Educational Thinking, PENSER. It is very gratifying for us to have the participation on higher education institutions from different countries such as Malaysia, India, Indonesia, Australia, Philippines, Thailand, Poland, Pakistan, Sweden, Albania, Vietnam, China, Canada, Italy, Romania, Russia, Colombia, Bolivia, Ecuador, Peru, Mexico, and among others. We reiterate our deep gratitude to our lecturers who have donated their time and knowledge to make this space available today. Today, we will develop the third day, which is framed in the professor as a scientist of the teaching learning process. We remind you that PENSER Corporation is an NGO of teachers for teachers, and we focus on developing research, advisory, and consulting training processes in our three main lines of work: integral formation of children and youth, systemic educational processes, and holistic andragogy. This course is part of our line of systemic educational processes, specifically in the subline of permanent teacher training. Likewise, in the line of work of systemic educational processes, we accompany institutions and universities with professors from Central and South America in the following fields: methodologies and tools for planning follow-up through management indicators, impact evaluation of policies, strategies, and programs, and higher education management, curricular modernization focused on learning outcomes, development of virtual and extended reality experiences of educational purpose, mobile applications for information and knowledge management in academic environment, conceptual and methodological support in self-evaluation processes, continuing education in agreement with foreign universities. Some considerations to take into account before starting: each lecture will have an approximate duration of 25 minutes and 5-minute question time. Participants can write their questions in the YouTube chat to be read to the professor by the moderator, or enter the Zoom platform with the link that we will provide previously. If you wish to obtain the certificate of participation, it is subject to conditions, and you will have to attend the complete course. A link will be available in the YouTube chat for daily attendance control. The certificate will be used within a maximum of 10 working days and can be requested upon completion of the course. This course will be available on our YouTube channel. Finally, we invite you to follow us on our social networks. You can find us as PENSER Corporation, in Spanish, Corporación PENSER. In this way, we start the third day of the International Summer School for Professor Training 2023. We invite the Professor Arvind Saragosti, PhD, is an Associate Professor of Hospitality and Banner States, Chandiwala Institute of Hotel Management and Catering Technology, GGIP University, New Delhi, India, and the Academic Coordinator of Undergraduate Program in Hotel Management. Also, the Research and Consultancy Coordinator of the school. He is diligently committed to promote quality education and research in the domain of tourism and hospitality in India and overseas. He has keen interest in tourism and hospitality marketing, particularly in the shipper of hospital operation in management, tourism administration and management service marketing, relationship marketing, and online marketing and destination promotion. He has participated in more than 50 national and international conferences in various roles of keynote speaker, chair season, and presenter. He is the serving editor of Indian Journal of Applied Hospitality and Tourism Research, and the present convener of India International Hotel Travel and Tourism Research Conference, held annually since 2009, being an adherent of tourism films as modality for tourism development and destination promotion. He is remained associated with Air Tour International Tourism Film Festival, Portugal, Sagrentud, Tour Film Festival, Croatian International Tourism Film Festival, South Africa's Remember, Good Picker International Film Festival, as a screening committee member and also a life member of International Film and Television Club. Dr. Adin Kumer Sarawasti is an academician, author, and researcher in the domain of hospitality and tourism management with a special focus on service marketing and destination promotion. He holds the editorship of various tourism research journals and is actively involved in research conferences as convener, keynote speaker, and resourced person across the globe. He's also the judge of few international tourism film festivals in Portugal, Croatia, and South Africa. He's a decorated professional with many national and international recognition of being best young teacher and researcher. Go ahead, Professor. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Before I speak, just confirm me whether I'm loud, audible, and clear to everyone.
Yeah.
All right. So good evening, good afternoon, good morning to all the participants who are connected today through this training workshop across the globe. Here it's 5:30 in the morning and I'm still in my bed and will share my thoughts with you people. I'm Dr. Arvind and I'm Professor of Hospitality. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank PENSER Corporation, especially Professor Jesus and Professor Laura for giving me this wonderful opportunity to have words with you and to share my thoughts on the topic of the day, that's artificial intelligence and its impact on hospitality education. Let me share my screen with you people and then we'll continue. So please let me know whether my screen is visible to you.
Yeah, only you have to put in a complete screen, okay? In presentation mode. Yeah, perfect.
The topic of the day for the topic of my day is artificial intelligence and its impact on hospitality education. Because I'm from the hospitality education and from the domain of hospitality, so I'll be emphasizing on how the artificial intelligence is impacting hospitality education. The term the artificial intelligence is first coined by John McCarthy in 1956 at Dartmouth College at first ever conference on artificial intelligence. He coined that every aspect of learning or any other feature of intelligence can in principle be so precisely described that a machine can be made to simulate it. Also, as per the Britannica 2023, the ability of digital computer or computer-controlled robots to perform tasks commonly associated with the intelligence being. As per the Gardner glossaries, this says the applied advanced analysis and logic-based technique includes machine learning to interpret events, support, and automate decisions and take action. It is the simulation of human intelligence possessed by machines, especially the computer system. And if we talk the layman language in a very simple words, the ability of a machine to mimic intelligent human behavior is all about the artificial intelligence. If we pick some of the historical evidence of artificial intelligence, it was started in the era of 1950s, where it was first coined by John McCarthy, as already discussed. I've picked few important historical evidences, though there are plenty in the field of artificial intelligence. If you remember the year 1997, IBM was the one who developed a chess playing computer. The name was Deep Blue, and that outperformed the world champion Gary Kasparov in math twice. Also in the 2002, artificial intelligence for the first time stepped into domestic and built a vacuum cleaner named Roomba. By the year 2006, the multinational companies such as Facebook, Google, Microsoft started using AI algorithms and data analysis to understand consumer behavior and improve their recommendation system. With the computer systems becoming more and more powerful, it is now possible to process large amount of data and train out our machines to make better decisions. Supercomputer takes the advantage of artificial intelligence algorithm and neural network to solve the most complex problem of the modern world. And this was the era from 2012 onwards till present date. Artificial intelligence is important for its potential to change how we live, work, and play. It has been effectively used in business to automate tasks that was earlier done by human beings, including customer service work, lead generation, fraud detection, quality control, and in many areas. AI can perform tasks much better than human beings, particularly when it comes to repetitive, detail-oriented tasks, such as analyzing large number of legal documents to ensure relevant fields are filled properly. So artificial tools often complete jobs quickly with relatively few errors. So these are the few most popular artificial intelligence tools of the present era. Right, for chatbots, we have ChatGPT, Bard, Bing. For videos, we have Runaway, Pictory, Descript. And likewise, we have many tools available for productivity, design, website development, coding, content, content creation, presentation, or automation of the tasks. Uh, Artificial intelligence is a real-time and accurate diagnosis of problem that can be accomplished by AI in various fields, which may include the automotives, that is self-driving cars, the virtual assistants or the chatbots, in retail and e-commerce, in manufacturing sectors, cybersecurity, healthcare, and medical imaging analysis, and many more, including the education sector also. The AI is slowly, gradually being incorporated in education sector also. And for that reason, I'm here to discuss that how it impacts the hospitality education. The uses of technology in education has revolutionized education system with better reach and improved execution. And the pandemic imposed online delivering of classes and technology also plays a critical role in adoption of artificial intelligence in education system too. I'm talking the pandemic of 2019 and 2020 of Corona. That time, many of us has been forced to transit from traditional online class system to the online class system, and that was a turnaround point in the field of hospitality education, where the professors were willingly or unwillingly were forced to use the technologies in deliverance of classes. According to the Business Today, by 2024, 47% of the learning management tools will be artificial intelligence enabled. Also, AI in education industry is expected to reach a CAGR of 40.3% between 2019 to 2025. Therefore, we can say that artificial intelligence is expected to fill the gaps in learning and teaching methodologies and delivery. If we talk about the role of artificial intelligence in hospitality industry, in hospitality education, right, it has many roles to play. I've listed few over here. The first thing is personalization of education. With the help of artificial intelligence, students can get personalized curriculum, tests, and learning methods and deliveries. AI has the ability to collect data to identify the students with different ability level and then generate a learning route for them in more personalized manner. This allows for creation of customized study program for each student, which is otherwise a tedious job for an educator or a trainer to do it on individual level for the students. Secondly, it's a great assistance to educators and trainer. Right? As we discussed, with the help of AI, student can get the personalized curriculum, test, the learning method and delivery. This is otherwise has been challenged for teacher as managing and providing teachings that suits every student's specific need, which was nearly impossible. Also, the educator have to perform many administrative duties that are often repetitive process, and this very time consuming also. This is where AI can come in and help and assistant our educators and trainers. Right? So these issues can be fixed by using artificial intelligence to automate data entry and operational course, such as grading and responding to the students. Also, the artificial intelligence makes the education accessible and inclusive. AI, particularly through the online distance education mode, have got deep reach among the learner. It can facilitate the teaching learning process for learner even to the remote corners of the globe across the boundaries and time zones, overcoming all kind of cultural, regional, ethnic barriers to the education. Thus, AI helps in facilitating the accessible and inclusive education for all. Yeah, it can overcome the shortage of teachers and professors because of its ability of personalization of education, great assistance to educators and trainers, and making education accessible and inclusive. It is helpful in overcoming the acute shortage of teacher and professor in case if any such shortage is prevailing in any kind of in any of the country. Particularly, this became a problem for the developing countries where the population is also huge and they can face the shortage of trained educators and teachers. So there, artificial intelligence can play a role where that particular problem can be overcome. Also, the artificial intelligence can help in remotely proctored assessment and examination. When we talked about the remote proctoring, it's technology that helps to simplify the exam invigilation process. Student can appear for the exam from any location, classroom or home. System is able to invigilate such exam remotely using the remote proctoring. Also, the artificial intelligence provide a secure solution to ensure integrity of examination system assessment in a cost-effective and scalable manner. Thus leads to improved and unbiased grading system when it comes for the assessment of the learning of our students. AI can also help in streamlining the education system process. The use of artificial intelligence is leading to the automation of administrative tasks, and this will enable teachers to utilize their time effectively towards deliverance of teaching and learning. This would also help to improve the quality of education and make it reach a large population in the form of smart content. Digital classes in the form of digital books and studies guides can be created, which aims to improve engagement. So here it says when the teachers get free from all kind of administrative and repetitive tasks, they'll be able to devote more time in the teaching process. Also, when the administrative tasks such as making the students data, keeping the record of dropouts, that can be done much easily with lesser error using the artificial intelligence system in our education process. When it comes to the teaching, learning, delivery, the platform provides artificial intelligence-based adaptive practices, analytical dashboards, personalization, personalized improved plan, and recommendation engine. Based on the student activities, strengths, and weaknesses during the learning process on the platform, an AI-powered individualized improvement plan is generated that helps bridge the gap between the students and the teacher. But along with so many pros of so many uses, advantages of artificial intelligence in education system, particularly the hospitality education, it has also got some gray areas that needs to be addressed before the implementation of artificial intelligence in the education system. As we all know, the essence of human touch and emotions is very important in hospitality industry. It's a service industry, and we want that will be taken care by people with a touch of emotions and human intervention also. As I've told you, it's a service industry, our industry of the people, by the people, and for the people. And too much reliance on the machine, that is artificial intelligence enabled in teaching learning process, may lead to the lack of basic essence of human touch and emotions that needs to be inculcated in every learners of hospitality. Though the artificial intelligence at present age is able to capture emotions also, but the problem area, the gray area, is that the emotions are endless and machine will be able to capture only those emotions that has been pre-feeded in the machines beforehand, but the emotions are endless. So if we are including artificial intelligence in hospitality education, this particular aspects need to be addressed, that how we can inculcate the human values, emotions, and human touch of the hospitality industry, right, to our students, to our learners, so that they can also perform their tasks with more of a personalized human touch containing the emotions, understanding the empathy, understanding the emotions of the guest with an empathetic approach. Another gray area that needs to be addressed here is, we all understand that hospitality education is a skill-based learning process. When it comes to the artificial intelligence, it can facilitate deliverance of theories, concepts, and processes. But when it comes to performance, artificial intelligence may in transfer of skills required to the learners of hospitality through machine application. See, hospitality is a skillful industry where every professional must be fully equipped with the appropriate skills required for daily operations. And this is the area where the artificial intelligence may lack in transferring those skills to from the educator to the learners. And this needs to be addressed while or before introducing artificial intelligence in hospitality education. There are few challenges ahead also before implementing artificial intelligence enabled education system in hospitality or in general. First is there's lack of access to these new technologies, lack of logistic supports, which may be the hardware, that is device, maybe laptop or smartphones, the software, that means the platform that gonna use, and the network, whether intranet or intranet, on which these activities can be performed. Also, the resistance to adoption of AI or the new technology, like that's also challenge because whenever anything new comes in the market, right, there's some sort of resistance also there. And we all have witnessed that at the time of pandemic, then we were asked to take classes online. Many of us as educator trainers were having some kind of apprehension or resistance to take classes online. So that's also a challenge that resistance will be there, and that will be from both sides, from educators and trainer side also, and from learner sides also. Also, the thing is that lack of training, how to integrate AI and teaching learning process. That's also biggest challenge that everyone is talking about, that we must include, we must incorporate artificial intelligence, but still there's lack of training modules or education systems which can help us to understand how we can integrate the AI and teaching learning process. And I think that's also one of the reasons of resistance to adopt these artificial intelligence technologies. Also, the thing is that artificial intelligence is totally a machine-based process, and there are chances of technical and machine errors also. Also, all of our data is being fed in machines or computer system. There's also a security concern in terms of the data breach and cyber attack, because the data of the students, their parents, their background were being fed, and there's chances that the data can be misutilized for any purpose other than the education. Lastly, the concluding remarks. AI is all set to redesign and reinvent the education sector. The combination of teacher expertise and the best of machines will shape the future of education and the whole concept of learning. AI will make it possible for teachers to understand their students better and leave behind the conventional old school teaching and learning style. Another big advantage we see in artificial based education system is the fact that we are exposing the students to this technology at very early stage, which will spark innovations, idea, and knowledge about this magnificent technology in their curious young mind. Well, thank you so much. That's all from my side. For any suggestions, recommendations, queries, and research collaborations, please reach to me at arvindsaraswati@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, Professor Arvin. In this moment, I'm waiting the questions, the participants, and we'll just
Good.
maybe 15 seconds. Okay, maybe the people writing on chat, or maybe enter in platform of Zoom. Okay, give me a minute.
Any questions?
Yeah, I in this moment have a question. Okay,
Okay.
from your perspective, how could we manage the risk of students becoming dependent on artificial intelligence and not developing their skills?
Can you please repeat the question once again?
Okay, from your perspective, how could we manage the risk of students becoming dependent of artificial intelligence and not developing their skills?
That I've already mentioned in my slide. That's a gray area that needs to be addressed. That artificial intelligence can help in delivering of the theories and the concept, but the skills, right? For the skills, there has to be human touch. Particular our hospitality industry is a skill-based industry, right? And skills cannot be taught through machines. There has to be transference of skill from human being to human being. But yeah, the artificial intelligence can be used uh, to teach the student the steps in detail. And the good thing is that they can watch the videos or the steps again and again with the minute detail, and sometimes it's just not possible standing in the lab and students were watching you. So that can be done, but yes, student can be dependent for the knowledge on the artificial intelligence, right? And how this knowledge has to be applied, particular skills, right? For that thing, the teachers, the human beings comes first. And that's why I've told that is the new education system will be the collaboration of machines and human being, right? We as a human being, we need to teach our students, and the students also need to understand how these machines has to be used, how to what extent we can dependent upon them, and how we can rely on them. The only thing is that this machine system, artificial intelligence system, is just saving our time when it comes for maybe researching 15 different papers and coming out for some conclusion, right? So it saves our time in terms of creating elaborate assignments that all the projects was given to the students. But yes, how this machine has to be used, that ability of logical thinking and applied knowledge, that we need to inculcate in our students. And certainly the uh, whether it's the European context or the throughout the globe, skill set needs to be transferred from human being to human being. That's my take on this. I hope I answered that very well.
Okay, thank you. We have other questions. Just
Okay.
give me a minute, please. Okay. What techniques do you suggest that can be used to confirm the sources from which this artificial intelligence collect information are correct?
Okay. Yes, that's what I'm saying, that it can give you the glance of information, but to understand the correctness of the information, right, certainly we need to have an analytical mind, right? So here the transition of education system is that, right, we have to make our student thinkers, right? The ability to think, right? Ability to ask question, why this happened, how this happened. Because the conventional system says that whatever professor says and that is correct and authenticated, right? But nowadays when the students are exposed to too much of language, too much of education, too much of knowledge, particularly, right, from different part of the globe, that is the work of a teacher to make them a critical thinker also. That if I'm getting some kind of information through machines or through internet, to what extent they are correct. And you'll be glad to know there are many upcoming artificial intelligence tools are also there, right, which can also uh, validate the information collected by artificial intelligence tools also. For example, if you have collected some information using chatbot uh, or chat GPT or BART, right? We have some tools where we can put this information and can get the references and validation of the information that is being collected by artificial intelligence. For example, the simplest thing is that if you have collected some information using your chatbot or chat GPT, right, straight away put that information on maybe any kind of plagiarism software, right? Immediately they give us the source and references of each of the information from where it is collected. So that's what I'm saying. The time here the upcoming time for the education system is bit complicated, and we have to shift our teaching learning process, right, from just transferring the knowledge to making the student a thinker, a critical thinker.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Arvin, for the answer and for your participation in this event. We hope that you will be staying in other activities of Corporation PENSER, okay?
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for calling me and giving me this opportunity to share my knowledge, my views, my thoughts with the people across the globe, particularly to the fellow professors and teachers of Latin America. Thank you so much.
Okay, have a good day. Thank you very much.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, to continue with the next unit, we call on teacher Anshuman Mirra, who holds a position as Helbert Glader Research Group Leader at Institute of Advanced Materials, IAAM, Sweden. His research is focused on the translational research and sustainable management concepts for healthcare and environment. Dr. Mirra received PhD in biotechnology from the Banaras Hindu University, India. He worked as a research associate, postdoctoral fellow, and researcher at CSIR-CCMB India, Busan National University of Korea, and Puken University of Korea, where he pioneered the biotechnology and genetic engineering research. Dr. Mirra has more than 15 years of research experience, and he engaged in educational and research responsibility for healthcare and environmental field. Dr. Mirra worked as associate editor in the Frontiers in Medical Technology, Frontiers in Genetics, Fisheries, and Aquatic Science, and editor in PLOS ONE journal. Go ahead, Professor. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much for the introduction and inviting me to deliver my talk. So hopefully I am audible.
Yeah, it's okay in this moment.
Okay, thank you, Laura. And today I am going to talk about climate neutral biosensing for healthcare. I am Dr. Anshuman Misra, Herbal Guitar Group Leader from Institute of Advanced Material, IIM, Sweden. So my talk will cover climate neutral research, biocompatibility, background of the nanoglasses, advanced biomedical technologies, like how we can understand it, how we can adopt all these biomedical technologies, and what are the important impact of these biomedical technologies in current scenario. So how we can understand climate neutral biosensing, what is the sustainable prognosis model, and what is the roadmap of sustainable healthcare management. So firstly, I would like to start from Sustainable Development Goal, which is started by United Nations from 2015, where they fixed the agenda of 2030 sustainability development, where all the nations have signed and they have to fix on goals, where they have to work on these 17 fixed goals. Means you can see like poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality. So all these 17 goals, all the nations, all the research organizations, all the individual to country level, everyone has to work. And recently in Paris Agreement, they also adopted that they will also work to decrease the temperature of the earth by their research methodology, by their process, so that global climate burden can be tackled. So if you talk about the net zero carbon neutral goals by country, you all can see that how all the countries is participating from the American continent to Asian continent, African continent, European continent, how they want to involve in developing carbon neutral goals by developing net zero technologies so that they can achieve the goal as soon as possible. Definitely net zero, how we can achieve if we avoid any kind of carbon emission, how we can reduce the greenhouse gases, and we have to invest, we have to uh, involve in industry where we can remove the carbon, and how we can involve in research, technology, innovation, where we can develop green technology, we can work on big data, social movement, everything, so that we can achieve this net zero as soon as possible. If we talk about different kind of dynamic biological interfaces, you all can see that there are many parameters like pH, enzyme, strength, magnetic, electric, light, temperature. All these things can be used as a interfaces where we can sense any kind of biological molecules or samples, where we can understand and sense them. Same way, if we talk about biocompatibility things, how we can make any kind of materials, either inorganic or organic, like here you can see paper, glass, silicon, all these things can be make biocompatible, and they can be used in some kind of healthcare management or healthcare field, like in kind of diagnosis or treatment. So we have to develop, we have to adopt a material which is climate neutral, which is less toxic, which is not harmful, which can be degradable. Therefore, we have to use, we have to avoid the plastics, we have to avoid the toxicity, we have to see the any kind of develop any kind of medical device or implementable device, dental materials or products which can be, which have less burden on the environment. So you can see the advantage and disadvantage of all kind of materials, where we can choose based on climate neutral things. So whenever we talk about the development of any kind of materials which can be used in the healthcare field, we have to see the how, what are the important property that material can bring. So material should be have transparency, their price should be less. They can be sensitive and specific to detect the any kind of biomarkers. They have some kind of permeability property, mechanical related strength, toxicity related things, so that it not be toxic for our body. So all this kind of uh, properties can make any kind of material a best biocompatible materials. So if we talk about the nanoglasses, which has some mechanical behavior, magnetic properties, electronic, thermal stability, can be used in tissue engineering, can be used in therapeutics. All these things make one of the excellent material to be used in the healthcare field, because nanoglass exhibit excellent mechanical properties such as improved plasticity, hardness, elastic molecules, when you compared with their corresponding melt quench behavior. So all these things make it one of the important uh, materials which can be used in the medical field, chemical field, and physical field. If we talk about the medical field, we can sense, we can make develop device because has anti-infection properties also. Same way in the chemical behavior, it has luminescence, electrochemical, ion conduction properties. If you talk about the physical behavior, it can be used in cryogenic things, magnet dielectric property, it has superconductivity. So all this property make it a important material to develop medical devices. So if we talk about the population variation, so we can see that this is one of my study which show that how human behavior, how population behavior, we know that world is divided from different, they carry biodiversity. Biodiversity, they carry phenotype differentiation. If we talk about the human, you can see color is the one of the striking phenotype feature by which we can differentiate the human from black color to white color, how human races are spread, how they are adapted in different kind of environment so that they can take adaptation of specific color for a particular environment and location. So these kind of phenotype character is related to their genetic background. Same way, if we talk about the drug, so when you see the cytochrome oxidase P50 enzyme, what we have found that genetic polymorphism of cytochrome P450 2C9 in Indian population, what we have found that persons are subject having 3 allele, they require lower dose of warfarin compared to 1 and 1 allele. So this kind of study show that each population have unique feature to digest, to uh, work for a particular amount of drug, because each population is adapted, they have carrying their specific genetic pattern which can be used for their metabolism, for their digestion, and for their specific response to any specific drug or any specific chemical compound. So we cannot use same kind of drug for each population. We cannot use, maybe some drug is lower amount is sufficient, some population has higher amount sufficient. So this kind of study is useful to identify which population has which amount of drug we can use and which amount we can use so that we cannot take toxicity in our body. So same way, when we talk about the biomedical technologies adaptation, we have to understand the multidisciplinary research. We have to understand which kind of technology we can adopt to develop a healthier healthcare management. So definitely there are research on database resources, different kind of research in treatment and vaccine technology, and how we can develop diagnosis and treatment model. We have to understand the green chemistry and analytical method. If we talk about the advanced technology, we can see that multidisciplinary research like genomics and proteomics is one of the topmost field, which give lots of information about complete background of genomics, genetics, and all the proteomics, and through which we can understand different kind of biomarker, different kind of risk associated with the individual. Same type, if we develop some kind of sensors connected with electronics so that we can convert in some kind of uh, informative tool, then through the use of digital technology and AI cloud-based computing technology, we can decrease the cost, we can do the monitoring of healthcare thing, not only individual basis, but for a mass level, for a big population. So after COVID, everyone know that cost-effective technology is one of the important tools through which we can give immediate and cost less cost solution for all kind of populations. So if we understand the genomic phylogeography of any kind of emerging bacteria or virus or any kind of pathogens, then we can make a very important tool for their diagnosis. Then we can uh, develop a very cost-effective diagnosis tool by studying their genomics, by studying their uh, genetic marker, and in early stage we can identify the risk, and then we can make their control strategies. Same way, if we work on different kind of population, regional population, and then we can identify any kind of health related concern. Like here, all these studies, like there are some kind of population, they have a uh, suicidal tendency. So this is one kind of example how our mental status changes in a specific kind of environment. Same way, how obesity, like lifestyle diseases, diabetes, cardiac, all these things increases. So whether this is related to our food habit, or whether it is related to our genetic background, so all this kind of studies can be done through genomics-based, population-based research. And how we can develop a very cheap and very, very cost-effective devices. Like if we talk about the paper-based analytical device for sensing, then we can add climate control methods in our system. If we talk about the paper-based analytical device, you all can see it can be disposable, less cost, easy to prepare, very flexible, easy to modify. It can be used in drug screening, clinical analysis, food analysis, environmental analysis, and healthcare. So why not we have to avoid the plastics devices and make all kind of diagnosis device in paper based. And if we talk about the organ on chip technology, there are lots kind material like synthetic material, hybrid material, natural material. So definitely we have to choose adopt natural material like collagen, gelatin, fibrin, hyaluronic acid, ketosine, alginate. All these things can be very, very biocompatible, and these can be used to develop the device and cause less harm to the environment. So recently we have seen lots of advances in organ on a chip material and their devices, because these can be used in the IoT enabled devices also. They can be used connect with the smartphone, and by this way we can develop organ specific device material. We can do the monitoring also. real-time monitoring of healthcare thing. So particularly a lifestyle disease, particularly cardiac, kidney related, liver related disease, we can uh, very effectively we can control and we can monitor the disease. Like here you can see that nowadays microfluidic chips are developed, which can be used in skin on chip, gut on chip, heart on chip, lungs on chip, tumor on chip, liver on chip. So all this kind of things by using a different kind of natural material, they can develop this kind of duplicate organ kind of devices which can develop, which can produce enzymes, which can use for the treatment of the human organ. Same way, we all know that nowadays digital technologies are very, very useful. And these kind of technologies are very, very useful for the diagnosis and treatment. This can be used in a telemedicine. So therefore, we have to understand the power of all digital technologies, wireless healthcare systems, which can be used for early regular monitoring and early diagnosis of any kind of disease. Firstly, we have to understand the risk, what are the relevance, and what is the important roadmap for any kind of sustainable healthcare model. And we have to understand their policies, their strategies, what we can include, what we can adopt, and how we can use that in diagnosis, which kind of method we can use, and how we are monitoring the any health and challenges, and what is the important thing which we can develop for a prevention policy. So all this kind of roadmap we have to develop on a regional basis. We cannot adopt North American policy, North American strategy, adaptation, diagnosis thing, monitoring, prevention policy in South America. Same way, whatever adopt in South America cannot be adopted 100% in African continent, or whatever the we are using in Asia, we cannot adopt in any country. We have to work on regional basis. We have to understand all kind of risk. We have to understand the challenges, and accordingly, we have to develop our diagnosis and treatment plan. So sustainable management, healthcare management based on regional healthcare model, regional strategies, and how we can work effectively on molecular, cellular, and environmental control methods, we have to develop on regional basis. So if we talk about the prognosis model, which address diagnosis, treatment, and control, so we have to adopt a phenotype-based technologies, which can be useful to identify any kind of risk. We have to use natural and traditional plant-based materials and medicine for any kind of treatment so that it cannot harm our body. Same way, we have to use digital technologies, different kind of vaccine and sanitization methods for healthcare monitoring and healthcare control. So overall, balanced environment and justified socioeconomic can be used for sustainable prognosis model. So overall, my conclusion is that healthy life exemplified by better healthcare management and recent technology development along with eco-friendly prognosis aspect is best strategy of any kind of issue. And eco-friendly biomaterials having physiochemical properties broadly exploited in numerous fields, including biotechnology, medical, and dental field. And remarkable advances led them to develop different kind of wearable, implantable, and automated devices for monitoring and pre-prognosis strategies, and definitely climate neutral products, which cannot affect any harmful effect on environment, will reduce the cost and risk by eco-friendly method, and thus risk of transmission and infection prognosis can be controlled. So these are the important international pre and post PhD program by our institute. Our institute facilitating partnership with global R&D world links. We have a networking, finding solutions, creating collaborations, intensive discussions, mapping out future, generating result, and any kind of international project are called through consortia we are developing. So you all are welcome to our Institute of Advanced Material IM. We have a very climate neutral campus and laboratory. And we have also robotics and AI based labs. So we have a very good field for a globally climate neutral research lab. We have a biodiversity water eco sites where we can work with international students on different kind of project. We also actively participate in United Nations related programs, and our team regularly visit. And recently we participated in water conference, United Nations, where we work with the United Nations Sustainable Development Agenda 6. So thank you very much. And if you have any kind of question, feel free to ask me. I will be happy to give answer from my sides. So,
Thank you very much, Professor Anshuman Mishra, for your presentation and for being here in this International Summer School of PENSER Corporation. Thank you very much.
thank you very much. And if you all have any kind of questions later, you can also ask me, particularly climate neutral technologies, climate neutral healthcare, energy, and environment field. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. For this moment, we don't have questions, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, in this moment, we invite the Professor Latina Hisha, who is a senior lecturer and researcher of economics at Epoca University, teaching international economy, development and growth, and microeconomics. Her research is focused on development economics, social aspect, and quality in higher education institutions. She is author of many scientific publications, including book chapters and technical reports published in leading international journals and publishing houses, including Integration of Education, Sustainability Journal, and Applied Economics and Routledge. She is included as Bologna Assistant Expert for Higher Education in many EU projects. At the same time, Associate Professor Latina Hisa has engaged in numerous and foremost contractual positions, such as Expert Regulator, Horizon 2020, MSCA Program, Research Executive Agency of European Commission, Expert Evaluator, Erasmus More Program, and or the European Solidarity Corps, European Union Program Agency, Bologna Expert and International Expert in many European Education Agency for Higher Education, and International Consultant Center for Higher Education Research and Academic Development, UAT. Go ahead, Professor. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. My name is Eglantina Hughes, and I'm happy to be among you in this International Summer School 2023. For me, it is a privilege to be a trainer for this professor training school, and thus I hope you get some new ideas for your next couple of years, trying to enlighten the knowledge of young people. Today I'm going to present a topic. It is somehow case study that I use in my classes, master classes, education through sustainable development goal, how I do integrate sustainable development goals within some projects of the students, and the students are themselves going to be involved. Before that, just shortly represent myself. I'm a professor of development economics. A part of that, I teach also some other classes of economics, such as international economics, microeconomics, etc. I have extended experience in accreditation processes and Bologna expert, and I do share some knowledge also in Bologna process in some universities in Europe. Thus, this is the first time being so in your country and presenting something. So to start with, what I would want to share with you today is to talk about somehow history on education system, which means starting from first generation. Now we talk, so educators are talking about the fourth generation, but what was the process of these? What was the process of these? So if we go from the first one, first generation universities, the main goal of them, it was only teaching, so education, so focusing on the education processes and how to engage students with education, how to transmit this education to the students. And somehow the main role it was to protect the truth, so to get to know the truth and to be accepted, to be understood, to be perceived by the students. Second generation universities, beside education, the other focus, it was also research. So combine research and education together and transmit to the new generation. Third generation universities, so it is an added utilization of knowledge, so education, research, and how we utilize, how we use this knowledge. It was important to transmit that one to the students. However, for the fourth generation, we are talking today, we are trying to talk today in this case, it is how we act as proactive actors in economic development. So beside education, beside research, and beside usage of this knowledge, how then we are proactive in the economic development. Of course, each of these pillars should be integrated with each other to have a compound knowledge, or compound knowledge to be transmitted to the student. And the role of the fourth generation universities, it is to create strategy games, and the role of engine in local economy. So somehow to understand how universities stand by as one of the main actors in economy in our society to support the development of these of our regions. And this, so let's say this trajectory of the university's mission was a work done by Zuti in 2016. From the other side, of course, I'm quite sure that you have heard about sustainable development goals, but beside that, it is important to know that there are many universities trying to target sustainable development goals, because if the universities and the institutions collaborate together, or businesses collaborate together go for the sustainable development goals, it would be quite easier and so a better and a faster process toward getting through the goals of and through the targets of these sustainable development goals. There are 17 goals. At the top of them, it is partnerships, so networking. It is quite important to have, as I said, the collaboration between universities, businesses, government, society, etc. So to go through these triple helix, quadruple helix, etc., or quintuple helix models. Because we just know that by collaborating and by going together for our ideas, it would be quite easier to have some fast steps toward. So there are three main pillars of sustainable development goals and categories in which these sustainable development goals stand by. It is the first, it is biosphere, or otherwise we just know that it is environmental, so issues related to environmental issues. It is society, so issues still related to society, and also issues related to economics. So it is this three triangle concept of sustainable development goals, or sustainability, that together with the 17th goal, which was partnership, it is it is thought to go to for a better world, and all together we can go for that one. Thus, but actually, what is the contribution, and what are concretely the contribution of universities in these sustainable development goals? So if we just pass through this from the first to the 17th goal, what is important, it is that we directly can highlight four areas of intervention that universities can contribute to the sustainable development goals. The first one, it is education. So through this, through the education processes, through the classes we teach, through the projects we give to the students, we can transmit and we can raise awareness of our students toward the sustainable development goals. The other one, it is which is very important, it is also research. So how we address our research, do we focus our research in line with sustainable development goals? So it is, and by this we can just find out where we are, what we need to do more, and many fields of related to environment. There are many topics that relates to this one. There are a lot of topics of economics, for instance, so contributing to labor market. It is growing together, well-being of the people. So all these topics are topics in the focus, having in the focus sustainable development goals. Another important issue, it is operations and governance. So governance and operations aligns with sustainable development goals, incorporate into university reporting. So how we link our operations and governance with sustainable development goals within our structure. It is quite important if we address the sustainable development goals or not. So if we address, it would be quite easier for also research position, also the education one, to base the focus in this direction. And the last one, it is external leadership. So the public engagement universities are. So how they collaborate with society, how they collaborate with governments, and if they stand by for the same direction. So this is how university can somehow contribute, and actually be one of the main actors of sustainable development goals. Beside that one, I want to, so since I got the case study of my master classes, so it is a master classes in economics, and the topic of this class, it is development and growth. And thus, beside sustainable development goals targeting projects that I give to students, I had to keep in mind that I needed and I had to have some clear learning outcomes based on European qualification framework. And based on that one, there are three main pillars that we need to keep in line with. The first one, it is knowledge. So in master level classes, the students have to have high specialized knowledge or critical awareness, which means that in the projects I draw and I ask to the students to keep with, they have to keep a specific topic, which means to have high specialized knowledge in this in that area, to critically analyze the existence and the actual position of that topic, and then they think they have to pass to the second pillar, which is specialized problem solving skills, which means they need they have to go to solve that issue. They have to propose some solutions for the situation, critical situation they may find in the area. And lastly, it is a responsibility and autonomy of side of the project or the course, if we may say like that. It is manage and transform work of study context, take responsibility for contributing to professional knowledge and practices, reviewing the strategic performance of teams. And all these aspects I involve in details in the project while designing the groups and the teams of students. We are going to talk in detail, so how this was performed. Thus, besides sustainable development goals, I had to, so as teacher of this course, I had also to keep in mind the learning outcomes that the students at the end of the class, at the end of the semester, they had to have. This course, it is for 2 semesters, and the first semester it is a theoretical one in which we explain some topics that are related to development issues. We take different case studies of from different regions, different continents, different countries, different positions. We compare these countries and these regions. We also go to some data analysis and empirical results founded by other researchers, and we discuss. So somehow we have some knowledge on what's going around in the world, and also specifically to our country related to topics such as poverty, inequality, disparity, human capital, health, education, population growth, migration, financing, sustainable development goals, role of institutions, etc. Of course, all these are the main topics, but within these topics, we incorporate also other terms that are just linked to the main topics we discussed. So after finishing the first semester, in the second semester, then the students have to prepare a project for 12 weeks, and at the end they have to present. And there is a jury, so a selected jury that they are going to evaluate them and to give some points, to discuss with them, and to ensure that they got and they transmitted what it was aligned since the beginning of the projects. So the structure it is that for 12 weeks they have to act in proactive way in generating some results for their project. They have to first they have to create teams, and the team members have to be, so somebody needs to be a leader, somebody needs to be to attract some funds for the project, somebody needs to have some so to focus on the networking. What I mean with networking, so students need to collaborate with students clubs, they need to collaborate with governmental institutions, they need to collaborate with some businesses, some agricultural structures, and all these depends on the focus they have selected since the start. Some people need to deal with marketing. They maybe they think to open some social media accounts, such as in Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or they prefer to have their own pages, or somebody that it is dealing mostly with technology, they prefer to open their apps and like this to act and to develop their project. Thus, if you see, we have so since the start, since the beginning, we have some people covering so main aspects of the project, and this is their selection. This is how they select each other, just because they know that like this they are going to have a successful project. I have to mention, so besides economics students in this class, there are other so major programs being included in this course. This is an open class for as elective for many other majors, and thus it is easier to find people that deal with IT issues, technology or marketing, etc. During each week, for each week, we have consulting meetings, which means that students are not just, so they are free to think and to find some ways, but each week we discuss what they have done, what are the challenges, what are the opportunities they need to use, and like this, every project presents their work, weekly work, in front of their classmates, and thus each of them gives and takes some let's say new ideas from each other, and like this we discuss, this is possible, this is not possible, and we explain also the reasons why not, and maybe we give some further ideas for the next week. They can develop, go through these developments. Then somehow it is all this period, 12 weeks, it is somehow share experiences of challenges and successes among classmates, among so the professor, and also we invite some people, other people that have knowledge in different aspects, and they also give some good insights to the students, to the group of students. So since the start, they have clear targets. So what will be the target group? They are going to assist with their project, because they have to assist with their projects to somebody and to a certain group. What will be the concrete impact, so expected impact they are going to have, etc. So since the start, they have clear targets that they have decided by their own that they are going to meet. And then at the end, we discuss the results. So concretely, we have somehow a report. They have to have a clear report weekly by explaining through which week what they have done and what needs to be done, etc. So topics have to be related to the Sustainable Development Goals, and of course they need to clearly explain why, for instance, their project targets goal 3, good health and well-being, because they are going for instance to support the elder people, or to have some, so to support the quality education. They target some group of people that do not know English, for instance, do not know how to use computers or IT tools, and like this weekly assistance, they just get some, so they assist with some further knowledge to these groups, etc. So they explain in details what goals, sustainable development goals, they are going to work for or to contribute for. The evaluation criteria for this research project, first it is completeness of project. So we need to find out at the end, so if all of what was project was done, or at the minimum level, because in some of the cases we see that students overcome and overpass the targets. They have unexpected success with the projects, and this is very good sign for them. They have to ensure somehow scientific quantity, so they have to have some clear elaboration of research questions, methodologies they have used. Maybe they need to use, for instance, to support their contribution. So why this contribution is needed? Maybe they need to use some surveys at the very beginning, to use some data from the Nation Institute of Statistics of our country, or world development indicators, etc., to support the need for such project. Feasibility, if this project was feasible or not, and at the end we evaluate also the innovation aspect. It is important. Of course, we don't expect for each student to have, let's say, a project dealing with digitalization, everything to be digitalized, as we talk a lot about digitalization nowadays. But at least we expect and we ask for the students, for the teams, for the projects to have a certain innovation in their projects. So what will be the innovative side of the project? And thus, with these four evaluation criteria, the project, it is somehow evaluated and completed, fully completed. Some of the examples during so these last years, there were different topics, and so somebody dealing with water pollution, which is lies into environmental issues, entrepreneur roadmap workshop. They invite people from so successful people, entrepreneur, new and so in advanced level entrepreneurial, to give some lessons to our students, to our colleagues, etc. Project related to recycling, reduce, reuse, recycle, etc. Promoting tourism in Albania. And we have some cases that students with their projects tend also to go to be so to publish their work in the most important media in our country. It can be radio or television, and like this they promote their projects, and also they invite other universities, other schools to be part of these projects, and to give so a good, successful story of them. Beside that one, I know that I don't have too much time, but beside that one, I try by myself to find out what is going on with these projects, what was the focus of this project mainly. So if the students were more attracted to go and to study something related to economics, related to environmental issues or society. And for this, I had done some publications that are related to my projects. I compare the topic of these projects from year to year, and I find out so the coverage of these specific topics that of specific topics treated in this project and how they did cover the 3 dimensions of sustainable developments. And I compare some, and I find out that in last years, compared to 10 years before, for instance, we see that now environmental issues are quite in focus, and it is quite important because environmental issues maybe it is not understood instantly. If we talk about economy, we can better understand because it is just indicating the economy right now. Environmental somehow it is more a social aspect, and it takes some long period of times to be understood, and it is also related to new generation, next generation, and thus the issues that do I have to solve. What the issues of consuming today or consuming tomorrow are mostly related to that one, and it is a bit difficult to be understood by the students. So what would be my advice, so in general, and which is related also to this class, it is to have so practical based classes or universities, because like this, the students can just, if they are hands-in, they can contribute, and they can feel themselves they are somebody that they are going to transmit some value. If we integrate teaching, research, and community development insights that are related to sustainable development goals, yes, we can be one of the main actors. And of course, if we decide to have and to together leading in the quadruple helix, somehow we find the government it is leading, but maybe not always the government it is successful to be a leading, because they can say this is a good thing. But if we actively be involved and take the leadership of having the right bridges for these quadruple helix models, I think we can succeed to have some good collaboration with businesses, government, and also society. Final thoughts, of course, embracing fourth generation universities principles need a step ahead mindset of university leaders and academicians. Why I say this? Because academicians have to understand that so some changes are needed. Some changes are needed in our structures, in our curriculum, in dealing with the students, and this has to be supported by the leaders of the universities, by the management side. So if they do not want to make some changes, then it is quite difficult for people to advance in this kind. We need to have passion and also dedication for our work that we do. So it is good to understand the needs and to act in fast ways. So to not waste a lot of time, because time it is so an important tool. Okay, so thank you for your consideration and attention. Here you have my contacts, and hopefully I see you in some next editions. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Professor, for your intervention. In this moment, we call the Professor Phung Thai Minh Tran. He's then Faculty of Finance, Banking, Pasig University, Vietnam. She finished her PhD journey at Massey University, New Zealand, majoring in behavioral finance. In addition, she has also studied the financial literacy of young people. Her most recent publication inquires into the relationship between learning motivation and financial literacy. The Journal of Consumer Affairs 2023. Technology Readiness and Technology Usage, the Journal Public Organization Review 2022. Financial Decision Making Power and Risk-Taking Behavior, the Journal Economic Accelerator 2021. Go ahead, Professor.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I would like to present my topic, financial literacy in economic growth. So what's financial literacy? Financial literacy is the ability to understand basic financial concepts and make informed decisions on the use and management of money. Financial literacy contributes to economic growth through financial market, entrepreneurship, and well-being. For the first one, financial literacy is positively associated with financial market. For example, people tend with a higher level of financial literacy tend to participate in stock market. And the next one is fraud detections and portfolio diversifications and dynamics. For the second one, financial literacy positively affect entrepreneurship. For example, so people with a higher levels of financial literacy tend to be self-employed or to become an entrepreneur. Or fintech uses fintech's entrepreneurial intentions. And also, financial literacy affect personal finance. For example, people with a higher level of financial literacy budget more often. Better money management, credit card repayments, and retirement planning. So we should know how financially literate people worldwide. Actually, in the world, so levels of financial literacy is quite low. For example, even Canada or US, the percentage of adults who are financially literate are 68% only, and in US, so it have 57% only. But look at the Russia or China or Vietnam here. So the percentage of adults who are financially literate is quite low. And that's the reason. So we should care for financial literacy levels among the young. And this is the global financial literacy score ranking. So you see the highest score takes 71% only. And the lowest one is takes 13%. So in the world, so we are divided into two groups. So the first group is major advanced economies, and the second is major emerging economies. And you can see in the world here, so only 20% of people have financially literate. And if we consider people in major advanced economies or adults here, so it takes around 50%. But compare the major emerging economies, so the percentage of adults are financially literate is about 20% only. For gender, so female and males, so there is a gender gap in financial literacy, and in general, so boys overrepresented at both ends of the performance distribution. It means so boys in general have higher level of financial literacy than girls. And also adults as well. So women have lower financial literacy level than men. And this one here, for example, consider 3 out of 4 topics correct. So men answer correctly about 30%, and women have only 25%, right? And look at this one here for major advanced economies. So men also have the higher level of financial literacy than women. And also it's applied for major emerging economy as well. So men also have higher level of financial literacy than women. So in general, so men have a higher level of financial literacy than women. And if we consider financial literacy score by age, so we consider the young here. So in the world we consider 4 groups, 8 groups. And if we consider the young here, so that's the young group here, we can see. So in general, the young have the financial literacy is below about 30% only. But compare the major advanced economies, so the young have about 50%. But for major emerging economies, so the young have only 30%, so below 40%. So it means so we are here. So we are in Asia, and we are very considerable about the young financial literacy. For my publications recently, so I published several topics related to financial literacy or financial knowledge in Vietnam. And the key factor to improve financial literacy is learning motivation, and it's published in Journal of Consumer Affairs. The next one is related to financial literacies of the household head, and this one is I focus the roles of parents to improve children's financial literacies and budgeting behavior. And also I touched the important role of financial knowledge in entrepreneurship, and also fintech entrepreneurial intention. So I would like to show you a little bit about my publication related to learning motivation, because it makes financial literacy of the students improve. And we survey 730 university students in Vietnam, and this is our conceptual model. Learning motivation affect financial literacy. And how can we measure learning motivation? So we measure learning motivation based on 6 factors. And the first one is self-efficacy. The next one is active learning strategy. The next one is learning value, performance goal, achievement goal, and learning environment stimulation. So all of them here, we have the scale to the question to ask students to answer the question here. And also we test the moderation of the characteristic. And I summarized the financial knowledge or financial literacies amongst university students here. And you can see we have 16 questions, but the maximum the student answer correctly is also 15 score. That means 15 questions. And you can see, so for the average, that means A score here. So this one is the highest. So nearly 100%, the 100% student here. But for the questions, for example, question 13 here, so only below 30% of students answer correctly. And we divide basic financial knowledge and advanced financial knowledge as well. And for the numeracy interest comparing inflation, time value of money, and money illusion here. So look at this one here. We have the number answer incorrectly is quite high. For example, for very basic questions here, so nearly 35% answer wrong, right? Wrongly. And we use some methods, so ISS and SME as well, and we find learning motivation positively affect financial literacies. You can see, so, and it's robust to alternative methods. And also for the factors, so sales efficiencies also affect, and finance learning value as well. And for male and female here, we can see, so male, we quote male equal 1, and you can see, so males have the higher financial literacies than females, including basic and advanced as well. So who helps students improve financial literacy? So I suggest, so we have 3 groups. The first one, educators. The second one is parents. And the last one, institutions and policymakers. For education, so related to my publication, so learning motivation here. So I suggest educators or teachers should encourage students to have the positive attitudes towards financial literacies and increase their learning motivation. So that's the key word to help students to improve their financial literacies. For parents, so I also published the roles of parents in financial literacy improvement as well. And that's the reason, so why parents play an important role in children's financial literacy improvement. And it's also related to parental socialization. So this is theories and very famous to help students or children to improve their knowledge. And the last, and for institutions and policymakers, so for schools or universities, so we should organize more financial courses. So teach more financial courses to students, including secondary, high school, and university students as well. And for policymakers, so we should organize more workshops and talk shows related to the importance of financial literacy in economic growth. So that's my speech, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Tran, for your intervention. To continue with the next unit, we call the Professor Tao Yu, PhD in neuroscience, graduated from the University of Salamanca in Spain. She's working in the field of learning and memory and sport vision training in China Institute of Sport Science, Beijing, China. She has visited Japan, Denmark, Finland, Norway, Spain, Brazil, and Poland for academic communication. She has led and participated in more than 20 national ministerial projects and international projects. And her research results have been presented in international conference and English and Chinese journals. Go ahead, Professor. Welcome.
Hi professors, this is Tao Yu from China Institute of Sports Science, and it's my pleasure to give the talk in the International Summer School, and I'm going to talk about the role of visual perception in teaching and learning. So we know that the teaching and learning process is a transformation process of knowledge from teachers to students. So that means the teachers give the knowledge and then the students receive the knowledge. And it's not just a knowledge telling by the professors. Because if the professors just tell what they want to tell and then pay less attention to whether the student can understand or not, probably the teaching effectiveness will not as good as we expected, and the student probably will not get a good academic performance. So here we can see that the changes of class during the past 50 years. So on the left, this is a traditional classroom, as here we can see, and the professors here is making tell the knowledge through the blackboard, and then the students, they are learning mainly depend on reading and memorization, and also through the lectures. And then studies found that to improve the effectiveness of teaching, or to help the students to understand better, we should use the visualization. We should use visual teaching or visual learning. So this is what we can see here. And nowadays the professors are using the technologies, different tools and approach in their class to show the students by different ways and to help them to understand better and grasp the ideas and the concepts better. So this is, and meanwhile, as we can see, the professors and the students, they can have a good eye contact here. And in the past 3 years, due to the pandemic of the coronavirus, we have a new form of class, which is called the virtual class. So the professor gives the class through their computers, and then the students learn through their own computers at home when they were isolated at home. And it's just like what I'm doing here. I'm trying to explain the role of the visual perception in teaching and learning, but I cannot see you. So the good thing is, the good thing of the virtual class is that it can solve the problem of the distance, but at the same time, we cannot see each other. So we will lose the chance of eye contact, and in this way, we probably not know whether the students or the learners or the audience are interested in the topic or not, because I cannot see your eyes, I cannot see your face. So here is visual perception. So visual perception is the brain's ability to receive, to interpret, and to act upon visual stimuli. It is a primary source of information as people interpret and make sense of the world around them. And as we see that the first thing we do through our visual perception is to receive information, and only when we know about what is surround us, and we can survive better, and we can judge what is happening around. So to receive information, you may probably think, okay, just look at it. No? Yes, it is true. But here we first need to to emphasize that to look at it, especially in the classroom, we have two ways. The first is to read the text, and the other is to see the pictures. So here, if I want to explain where is South America, I can use two ways. First, I use the text word to describe where is it, or to just give a photo of the world, and to say, just to point where is South America. And we know that we all know that this is a more efficient way to explain. How to get the visual information? So look at it, but how is the look? So here, if I give you a Chinese character here, which means fair, I think that probably you may not know it, and then what you may do is to fixate it, right? So to look at it, in fact, there are two processes. The first is to fixate it, and the fixation. Fixation is very common, and we can see everywhere, from the baby when he is reading a book to the man when he is watching the TV. And fixation means interest and attention. So this is what we see in the classroom when all of the students pay attention to the topic of the professors. You will see that look at you, or look at the blackboard, or look at the PowerPoint. So why we have to fixate it? And instead, why could we use other ways to get the information, to get the visual information? So that is because of the physiological structures. So here is our eye, and then this is retina. And in the retina, there are two kinds of photoreceptor cells, the rod cells and the cone cells. And these two cells are different. The rods, not just in the shape of the cells, but also in the functions of these cells. So, well, the rod cells, they are responsible for vision in low light conditions, for example, at night. And the cone cells, they are responsible for the vision in bright light, for example, in the daytime, and the color vision. So that means if you want to see something clearly, something well, we have to use our cone cells. And interestingly, the distribution of the cone cells and the rod cells are not even in the retina. And the cone cells is mainly concentrated in a very small area of the retina, which is called a fovea, just a very small area. So if we want to see something clearly, something well, something in detail, we are going to use this area to get the visual information, and this is why we have the fixation. Okay, because it is such a small area. And this is what is happening in the classroom, so you can see that the students, they are paying attention to the topic of the class. And so if the fixation means attention, means interest, so do we need eye movement? So can we always fix at the point or the blackboard? The answer is no. In fact, we move our eyes constantly, even though we do not notice it. And even when we are reading, or even when we are looking at the blackboard, even when we are watching the TV, we are moving our eyes. Although it looks like that we just fix at the screen or fix at the sentence. So a very important eye movement in the classroom is called saccas. Saccas is a abrupt voluntary shift in ocular fixation from one point to another, as occurs in reading. So this kind of eye movement is happening almost every time, and it is said that, for example, in 1 second, we can have 3 sakas. And in addition to the sakas, we have other types of eye movements. For example, the smooth pursuit movement is like when we fixate a bird flying through the sky. We follow the route of her flying. And also the vergence movement. The vergence movement is happens when we see something very far and see something very near. And also there is a vestibular ocular movement. So all of these 4 types of eye movement are very important for the visual perception. But in the classroom, we mainly use the most important eye movement is sakas, although the others also exist. So here, as we can see, there are 12 pairs of cranial nerves, and then a very interesting thing, or one thing that surprised us, is that among these 12 pairs of cranial nerves, we have 4 pairs of cranial nerves related to our eyes, to our visual perception. One is the optic nerve, and the others, the number 3, 4, and the number 6, they are all related to eye movement. So this way, we know that the eye movement is so important for us, for the humankind, especially during the development, especially in the ancient time when we have to, for example, catch the animals or escape from the dangers. So this is examples of the fixation and saccade we use in classroom. So here, when we read a sentence, we have fixation, saccade, and then we know that different person has different reading speed. And the studies show that if a person has less fixation and has more saccade, so the reading speed is increased. And then, for example, just as mentioned, this Chinese character, the fire, and then probably you may have to fix this one, and then do a saccade to here, to here, and to here, and finally to have a global idea of how this Chinese character is written. In addition, when we look at a person or a face, in fact, we cannot get a global all of the features of the face just through one fixation. We have to move our eyes from for example, if we look at the face of this girl, we will look at her eyes, one fixation, and then probably saccade to nose and to the other places. So this is a fixation and a saccade. And this is in the classroom because what we do is about the athlete. So we want the athletes have a very good visual perception, because the speed, the acuity of their visual abilities are so important for their performance. So what we do is to practice the eye muscles. How to? Because as I mentioned, that there are external ocular muscles, and then there are internal ocular muscles, ciliary muscle. So we just ask the athletes to move their eyes, okay, for example, from left to right, to right, and then from the up left to up right, or in this way. So probably we don't notice the existence of this eye muscles, but they exist there. So, and only through the practice we can make them very strong, and we can make them contract very fast, and then we can get this. We can get the visual stimuli as fast as we can, and then give a very good response to it. And about these ciliary muscles, we can see that nowadays the prevalence of myopia is increased. I don't know in Colombia how about this situation, but in China, the prevalence is increasing dramatically. And one reason is that nowadays we use our eyes too much, and especially we fixate something very near from our eyes, and this caused the overload of our ciliary muscles. And then for the adaptation, especially the child and the young people, they have myopia. So we should not think myopia is a bad thing. It is because the adaptation, and although we don't want the myopia. And in fact, in the classroom, not only in the sarcasm, I mean the eye movement is not enough, but what we see is very close to our eyes, and that is not good for the internal ocular muscles. And this is a prevalence of myopia. So how to solve this problem is just let the students to go out and to move their eyes as much as they can, and this will help them to delay or to prevent them from the myopia. So after getting the information, we are going to interpret it. So how to interpret the data? We know if we compare the text reading and the feeder and the figure reading, we will see the advantages of the data visualization, of the figure visualization. For example, if we put two numbers, for example, 100 and 200, then we will compare which one is bigger, and this is in the data way. And then if we can also draw the compare the bars, and this will give us a very clearly and a faster way to find the differences. So we are good at finding the difference, the trends, to recognize the shape, the color, and the location through the data visualization, through the figures. And why we can do that, and which area of the brain is mainly in charge of it. So we know that our eyes from our eyes receive a lot of information, and then all this information will go to our brain in the primary visual cortex, so V1 and here. But from here, the information go in two pathways, the dorsal pathway and the ventral pathway. In the dorsal pathway, they mainly deal with the data about where. For example, where is the object, the speed, the orientation, the direction, and in the ventral pathway, it is mainly dealing with what. For example, what is the object, the shape, the color of the object. So from here we can know that in the classroom or in the data visualization, we mainly use the area of the what pathway, the V4. But at the same time, we should notice that there is connections between the where pathway and the where pathway, and especially the frontal lobe of the brain is also participates in this visual perception. For example, here, this Chinese character again, the fair. After we have the fixation and the success of this Chinese character, we probably cannot remember it very fast or very clearly. But if I show you that this Chinese character comes from the fair, for example, this is the flame, as we can see here, and this is the two branch of the tree to make the fire, and then probably you can remember it better, or you may think it is easier to remember this Chinese character, the fire. Okay, and similarly, we use figures or the charts to help us to interpret the data. Here we can see that there are 4 groups of data, and the statistical analysis are exactly the same. But if we draw the dot plot, we can see the difference of the 4 groups of data. And here the same with this. With these numbers, when we draw the dot plot, we can see that we can even draw a dinosaur. So this is a way nowadays when we publish articles, we normally need to not just provide the numbers or the data, but also to draw different charts or figures. So one thing we need to pay more attention is that we want to see the difference trends or the difference between the 2 groups. For example, they want to show the difference between the green one and the red one. We need to pay attention to that there are some people who are not good at distinguish red and the green one. So in this way, they probably just see this and they cannot find the difference. But if we put different shapes, it will be better. But the best way is to use different shapes and different colors, and do not use the green and the red ones. At the same time, we have to pay more attention to our brain, because we know that our brain is participating in the visual perception. So there are 2 ways to the visual perception. One is bottom up, and the other is up bottom. Bottom up is like take pictures, what is there, and we see. And up bottom pathway is like, for example, this is where we are rope. Okay, in the bottom up pathway we see a rope, but in the up bottom pathway, if the person have been bitten by a snake, he probably may think the whale rope as a snake. So this is a bottom pathway. And similarly here, probably you may see 2 triangles or even more, but in reality they do not exist. It is our brain who is working that, and they draw the triangles. And similarly here, we probably think that the circle A and circle B are different. A is bigger, but they are the same. And here the line A seems longer than line B, but they are same. And here, if we have a look at chart A, chart B, you may probably think that the difference between the blue one and the green one in chart B is greater, but this is just a trick. This is because of we pay more attention to the difference of the 2 bars. If we have a look at the y-axis scale, we can see that in chart A it is from 0 to 100, and in chart B it is from 80 to 100. So there is a stretching of the chart A, of this region of chart A. So we stretch it and then we get the chart B. Similarly, here we can see how is stretching is done. So, but it is not an honest way, right? Because we just stress and to make it looks like the difference is big. And also, we have to, and also we should not think that we will always use the scale from 0 to 100. It also depends on what we are going to describe. For example, if you want to show that the global temperature is increasing, so here is the temperature. We should not use the scale from 0 to 100 because it's too large for the temperature. Even 0.1 increase or decrease of the temperature, it will affect the world. So here we should use a smaller scale, as we can see here, to show that the temperature is really increased, especially after 19th century, it increased dramatically. And we should not use this figure. So finally, after receiving the visual information, after we interpreting it through the up-down and bottom-up pathways, we should give our response to the stimuli. If it is dangerous, if we are interested in it. And here we can see in the classroom, we have the communication with the class, with students in the class. And in sports, and it is very important because all the performance are based on the sensory perception. So, for example, Leo Messi, only after he observed the ball, get all of the visual perceptions of the ball. For example, where is it, the speed, the rotation, and where is his teammates, where is the gate. And so after knowing all of these informations, he could make a goal. And of course, it also depends on his muscle system. So if some person says that the athlete, they only have a good body shape or only have good skeletal muscles, it is not true. We know that not just the skeletal muscle, but the sensory organs and the brain are so important, especially for great football stars. And finally, we see here that the process of teaching and learning and the process of visual perception are very similar. And this is what is happening in the classroom, in the sports. And finally, we will say that our eyes is not just to get information, to interpret, and at the same time, it is we should say that the eyes are the window to our soul. So we have more information from our eyes. For example, we can have we can see if the person is happy or not from their eyes. And thank you for your attention. That's all.
Thank you very much, Professor Tao, for your intervention. This is the end of the third day of our International Summer School for Professor Training 2023. We thank our lecturers and assistant professors again for being part of this great activity. Remember that tomorrow you can join us from 5 p.m. Seattle time. It's the last day of the International Summer School for Professors Training. Have a great evening. God bless you.